Keir Starmer, who ended his speech attacking Corbyn because Keir Starmer's job is and always has been preventing the left from, developing power in the United Kingdom because he's a shameless agent of capital. And that other dipshit's going to be just as bad. What's his name? Not Bradhurst. Fucking Bradding, the Manchester. What's his name? All right. Get this shit over with. The UK is now on what? Like its 8th prime minister in the past decade? 7th?
Walking up this street 2 years ago was the proudest moment of my life. A new Labour government, the first in 14 years. A page in our country's history turned after years of disappointment and despair. The chance to change the lives of millions of people for the better. That's what I came into politics for. The journey to that point
6 and 10 years. We'll see how long Burnham lasts. Maybe we can hit 7.
Was not easy. 6 years ago, I inherited a Labour Party that was politically, financially, and morally bankrupt. I was told time and time again that my party was finished, that we were consigned to history, that a majority at the general election, let alone a landslide majority.
Burnham is relatively popular. He won in a relatively conservative area. Oh, hold on. He didn't win in a relatively conservative area. He won in a relatively white area. Yes, Labour overperformed in that, what was it, Manchester? What was it called? The fucking Wimsbyshire? Wimsbyshire, like, it's your, I know, your fucking election. I didn't cover it. Mayfield. Yes, Wimsbyshire Mayfield. I understand that he did quite well there and that people tactically voted in favor of Labour against reform and restore and so on. I understand that. But I don't know how replicable his regional popularity is, and I don't think he's going to be able to solve any of these problems.
Was impossible. But we proved those people wrong because we changed our party, ripping out the poison of anti-Semitism.
There were anti-Muslim racial pogroms in Northern Ireland like 2 weeks ago. You didn't say shit about that. They were burning people in their houses. They were lighting houses on fire.
Restoring trust on the economy, defence and national security, and becoming a party that once again stood proudly with, not against, our national flag. The hard work of change was with a singular purpose. Not power for power's sake, but to change Britain for the better. To build a fairer country with dignity and respect, where everyone is...
There are real questions around Burnham's ideological positions. He was a friend of Israel and Labour, and he's made Zionist statements in the past. He's also like flip-flopped in a number of national issues. I think he's another nothing person. Like he's another like non-person politician, somebody who's just shamelessly going to mold themselves to the expectations of capital forces. Everything that I've read about him makes me think that he's completely disingenuous. It's really, yeah. I don't think the UK's direction is going to change from this. You're just going to have another one of your popularity bumps where you start at like, I don't know, 55% approval and then goo like that because nothing's going to get fixed.
Everyone is valued. Wealth and opportunity for all, not just the privileged few. And look at what we've achieved in just 2 years. An economy that is stronger, growing faster than our peers. Wages rising faster than inflation in every single month since we came to power. Investment secured, infrastructure being built. An end to austerity, with the fastest fall in...
It's a fucking joke. Austerity hasn't ended.
NHS waiting lists for 17 years. The biggest improvement in rights for workers and renters in a generation. The biggest uplift in defence spending since the Cold War.
Cool.
Small boat crossings falling. Asylum hotels closing. Protecting young people from social media. And 500,000 children being lifted out of poverty because of the choices.
I love my Labour Party, man. Defense spending, migrants are down, asylum hotels are closing. Yay.
That I made. our reputation in the world restored, with Britain once again standing up for decency, respect, and the rule of law, securing trade deals, standing with Ukraine, standing up for our values, and rebuilding our relationship with our allies in Europe. Change promised by a Labour government, change fought for by a Labour government, change delivered by a Labour government. But I know the question being asked now is not who was best placed to change the Labour Party, to take us into power, and to begin the...
Remember that his approval rating is far, far, far lower than Trump's. It's hovering around minus 55%, meaning that something like 18% of the population thinks he's doing a good job versus, Jesus, I don't know, like 75. Like, it's a huge, huge, huge difference in terms of his overall approval. I feel like again, and you can disagree with me, I feel like if you were a real human being and not whatever Starmer is, your resignation speech at this time would acknowledge your overwhelming unpopularity. Like, I think that it is a show of respect to the people that you are supposed to be leading, that you can look them in the eye and show them that you care about their opinion of you, which is what politicians are supposed to do. Because this, like, we're good no matter what, we've done good no matter what, even though nobody agrees with you, makes it come across like you're completely detached from reality, and the democratic process is just a farce that we all collectively participate in, like a big theater, but the actual, you know what I mean? Like, imagine a play where at the end of the play, the main actor is doing like a big speech, thank you, we love you, but like they're getting booed and stuff, people are throwing stuff at the stage. Like, I understand bowing at the end of a performance, but I feel like it would come across even more detestable and tactless for them to do. Don't you agree? Right? Because it's like an insult then. If there's a really bad performance and then at the end, okay, imagine like a stand-up comedian. The stand-up comedian bombs, everyone hates them, but then at the end they're like, oh, you were all wonderful, thank you so much, you know, while they're getting booed. They're like spiting you. They're like, they're saying like, well, I don't actually care what you believe about me. I'm indifferent to your position. Yeah, it's meant to be an insult, right? The dignified thing to do would be to like quietly take your leave or acknowledge their feelings or something, but you know. Democrats do the exact same thing, yeah. I'm not expecting him to go up there and say, we failed, capitalism has failed, socialism is the only way. I'm not expecting anything crazy from him, but like this total, he is very unpopular.
Vital work of improving lives for millions of people. Those questions have been answered. The question my party is asking now is whether I am best placed to lead us into the next general election.
There we go.
I have heard the answer of my parliamentary party to that question, and I accept that answer with good grace. Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. I will ask the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening on the 9th of July and completed by the summer recess. In the case of a contest, this will ensure a new leader is in place before Parliament returns in September. I will remain in post as Prime Minister until the contest is complete. And I will do everything I can to ensure an orderly handover of power. I will also give my successor my full and unequivocal...
Even if he was doing a good job, I'm convinced any politician that's boring cannot have a positive approval rating at this point. It's worth remembering that it is a politician's job to not be boring. Like, they are a politician. They do politics. This isn't even a matter of populism, and it's not a matter of people being brain rotted. It is their job to be a public communicator leading a nation. They are literally a leader. Charisma is supposed to be part of their job. This modern day notion that a politician is meant to be a boring middle manager is delusional. It wasn't like that. For all of human history, leaders have been expected to be charismatic. It was thought of as a failure if a king was boring and uncharismatic because it compromised his ability to lead his people, command his guard, convince nobles to do the right thing, etc., etc. You wanted charisma. It was good to be charismatic. But for some reason, over the past 100 years, the liberals have tried to convince us in vain that it's actually good for leaders to be boring. Like, them being boring means they're the adults in the room, as though competence and charisma are inversely correlated, which is insane. I think it's an attempt to mandate complacency, personally. I think they want you to think of politics as boring, so you disengage, become apathetic, stop voting, and become a bug person. I think that the reason they're antagonistic to charisma is because they understand that it's getting more and more difficult to charismatically make your case for how you're going to improve the country.
Equivocal support, knowing that they will inherit a Britain that is far stronger and fairer than the one I inherited 2 years ago. Better prepared.
Polanski did an interview where he stuck to his populist policies, and a Labour politician in the same interview just kept saying, I think you're raising people's expectations too high, and I think that's dangerous. Yeah, no wonder the Labour Party is so unpopular right now. Like, that's literally their message. The centrist message, we can't have good things. Moderate your expectations. Did you enjoy the last administration full of complacency, compromises, and inactivity? Don't refill your popcorn bucket. You're going to love this next one.
For the challenges ahead, and better able to ensure the Labour Party secures a second term in office. I want to thank all of those friends and colleagues.
I have to say, I'm always afraid when Vaush talks about international politics. It's a damn coin toss. Federvit, everyone's looking at you right now. Explain when I've been wrong. You're going to vague post about me being only occasionally correct on international politics? Come on, I want to hear it. No. Share with me your expertise. I want to hear it. I want to hear your expertise on the subject. Don't you go vague posting about, I'm reading the chat, motherfucker. I can see what you're posting. You're not in a separate room. Go ahead, tell me.
Who have been at my side for these past 6 years or so, for their incredible commitment, service and support. I want to thank the brilliant Number 10 staff and our country's extraordinary civil service who dedicate their lives to public service. And when I leave the biggest job in the country, I shall spend more time on the most important job, being the best husband I can to my fantastic wife, Vic, who has been a rock by my side through good times and bad, and being the best dad I can to my beautiful children, who are my pride and my joy. Thank you very much.
He's just going to go to the subreddit? Yeah, probably. Yay! Yippee! Great, wonderful. Yay! Yeah, no, fuck him. I don't think it's going to get better for the UK. I wish it would. I wish it would, but as I've said many times, I don't think this is an issue that can be solved by a, marginally more competent or charismatic leader. It's a fundamental problem with the way the economy and society is structured that nobody has the balls to address. Very unfortunate, very unfortunate. Burnham's in favor of nationalization. He seems to be better. You don't know what he's in favor of because he's a damn liar like the rest of them. Corbyn's response?
Presentation of Bill, Jeremy Corbyn.
Gaza Independent Public Inquiry Bill.
Second reading what day?
Friday, 11th of September.
Friday the 11th.
Starmer's gone, but we will never forget the role his government played in the greatest crime of our time. Today, I represented my bill for an independent inquiry into Britain's complicity in genocide. You go, King. You go. I want a little bit more info to be out about Colombia before I start rambling about it. I understand right now that the progressive lost by like 1 vote. And he said Israel did it, and like, I don't know, maybe. You focus too much on Israel when talking about international politics? Oh, no. Dismissing everything Andy says because you don't trust him because of his Israel comment seems a bit silly. You have to understand that, like, Israel for as long as anyone's been alive, unless you're like as old as Trump or whatever, Israel has been a terrible ally to the West. They have represented not just brutality locally, but an enormous amount of capital influence over Western politics. That is to say, it's not Israel itself doing this, but rather they're used as the front man. They're the mask. They're the face. There is no legitimate reason to be pro-Israel, and there never has been. So if a person has gone out of their way to be pro-Israel in the past and has been deferential to them, it tells me a lot about where their money and priorities are coming from. See, I don't think Burnham, when he joined Labor Friends of Israel, an organization that worked to undermine the Labor Party and sell it out to the Tories because they didn't want Corbyn to be in charge, I don't think that he was a member of Labor Friends of Israel out of some sincere, naive, belief in the defense of a Jewish state. I think that he was, like many politicians, bought up in or influenced by an enormously powerful lobby that is, again, not specifically about Israel, but rather broadly about the influence of capital on Western governments. Not just Western, but, in this case, Western. So I consider Israel to be a phenomenal litmus test. Phenomenal. Just a fantastic litmus test. But his disingenuousness is also a big component in it, I think. Do you think Corbyn's defensible, seeing as how he supported Assad? So here's the thing to me, and people might disagree with me on this. I think that his comments on Assad were very bad, and I think that he has been too deferential to Russian interests. But I think that has more to do with a very specific kind of post-World War II American diabolism than it does with Corbyn being literally a Russian state asset. Whereas, I don't know if I can say the same for Israel. When I see lefties online being stupid about Russia and Ukraine, I usually think that's because they're doing this American Diabolist campus lefty internet club thing, the same shit you see out of the DSA, where people are so reflexively anti-American that they take literally any opposing side. It's not usually because they're literally RT agents or whatever. Though obviously there's some variance there, Caleb Maupin or whatever was actually an asset. But for the most part, it comes across as contrarianism. This is in contrast to Israel, where, and remember, AIPAC has given money to almost every national politician in the United States. We're talking about hundreds of millions, billions of dollars, every major network run by Zionists, every major politician deferential to Zionists. We're talking about such an overwhelming amount of interest and power corresponded to this topic. It's to me a much more powerful litmus test, I think that it would be more equivalent to deference to Russia if we lived in Ukraine. Does that make sense? I think that deference towards Israel in America is kind of like deference to Russia in Ukraine before Euromaidan, where the threat of Russian political influence is overwhelming in Ukraine circa 2013, and you have to be really, really, really careful because Russia is actually pressing on the scales really, really, really powerfully. So I think that the threat of, in that case, it was directly Russian foreign interference, whereas in this case, Israel again represents a wedge for capital interests. But it's a valuable litmus test. But Burnham has the potential to change my mind. All he has to do is not be hopelessly deferential to Israel, and also be good generally. Do you disavow Assad? There's literally nothing good to say about Assad. Yeah, of course. We'll see how it goes. I don't know, Federvy. Basically, every Western government is incredibly deferential to Israel, if anything, you guys are more cucked over there. The UK, Germany, you're basically like Zion-Nazi vassal states. At least the bulk of capital that defends Israeli interests is American capital, and the bulk of their political support comes from evangelicals. But you are neither American capital nor are you evangelical. You don't represent the political or economic base of support for Zionism. The German, the UK governments are just insanely deferential to Israel for no reason, and nobody likes it. You don't even have a legitimate domestic political and economic cause for supporting Israel in a real politics sense. You're just dogs. So if anything, I feel like it's more representative of being cucked. Goodbye, Starmer, you fucking piece of shit. It's not for no reason. People of my parents' generation overwhelmingly support Israel. They see Israel as more Western. You mean they're Islamophobes. Do you have to support a country just because you see it as Western? Israel is a Western country. Do you, what does that have to do? You support a country just because it's Western? That sounds like racism to me. Like that's the base of support, you know? So are the anti-Asia. Brits don't say Middle East, right? They just say Asian, like West Asian or whatever.